Hello, and welcome to the Zen Zone. Okay, so I want to talk about a subject that came up last night, and it's about dating and being single. I was out with my lady friends. Love ladies' night. We all need them, right? So, but the subject of being single came up, and my dating life, and um, it prompted me to do a video today. So, first of all, I do want to say there's a lot of wisdom out there, and it comes from, I'm sure, a great place, great intentions, okay? So, for those of you that are single, I do want you to know that a lot of the wisdom that your friends and stuff offer, friends and family, um, it totally is coming from a good place. We know that. We know that they love us and they're concerned. Um, However, their answers are not always your answers. And so sometimes what they offer you is going to work, and sometimes what they offer you is not. It's all about whether or not it's divine. Okay. So a lot of times what they offer is what worked for them. We all know that. I've been single for over a decade. I've heard it all. And so a lot of times people just offer you what worked for them. And that's fine. It worked for them. It's not always going to work for you. It's just not always your answer. So, um, lots of attempts and fails. One thing that I was always told is don't look and it will just happen. And I will tell you, there was a good span of like 7 years that there was no looking and it didn't happen. So, um, that's just wasn't my wisdom. And I kind of knew it too. But, you hear it so much that you kind of just start to listen. But the other thing is that sometimes people offered me that at a point in my life when I was making pretty unhealthy decisions, when I was dating a lot and almost acting kind of desperate. So at that point, I can understand that they wanted me to just slow down and maybe not look for a second. So just be careful. Just watch where the wisdom's coming from. Use your own discernment and judgment of in that, of course. Whether or not they're just offering you that because that's their answer, or maybe you need to apply it because you're acting kind of, thirsty or whatever they call it these days. Anyway, um, so that's kind of what I have to say about that. Now, on the other side of it, um, I truly believe that you should be looking and listening to people who have wisdom that is more objective, that, people who are willing to say, okay, let's look at it from both sides. So online dating has worked for some people, online dating has not. Let's look and see if there's a reason. I mean, there's tons of studies about how that has and hasn't worked, okay? um, and to me that's kind of where great advice comes from, is people who are willing to give you both sides, um, and not just one answer fits all. And because it doesn't. Some people were looking and they met their person. Some people met somebody online. Some people had horrible experiences with that. We just don't know what your answer is. You do. You'll figure it out. Okay. But to me, just be careful. Make sure that it's coming from a space of objectivity. Like, just use your own discernment on that, where they're coming from. Maybe it's just care and concern because of your actions. I don't know. Um, so, from my wisdom, what I would offer you is to check your mind, body, and soul. Because when I had a heart shift is when I just barely met Mike. Um, but, and that's a really awesome, healthy relationship right now, but in the past, when I think about where I've been and the toxic relationships, definitely I was not in the right heart space. My mind, body, or soul was off. And it could have, you know, it just, that's a good gauge of what you're attracting. If you don't like your own body, um, You might be out there looking for somebody that will like your body. Well, that healing needs to be done one way or another. And you have to learn, you truly have to come to a place where you can love yourself. And that's what happened for me before I met Mike. So what I'm trying to say is that that would work. That's universal. That is something that if you work on your mind, body, and soul, you are going to attract not just a mate. I mean, you're going to attract opportunities, so opportunities for romance, opportunities in employment, opportunities in life. It's just how it happens. So that actually is just universal advice. Just check where you're at and make sure that you do all the healing that you can personally, because when you're in a relationship like I'm finding right now, a lot of things are going to come up that you are going to have to deal with, even like insecurities and things that you need to work through and that you can't do without probably a good healthy partner. So that's kind of my wisdom on that. And for those of you who have been married, and that is awesome, okay, and we love that, but just be careful about your wisdom. Please make sure that you're offering universal truth, or that you are offering an objective, you know perspective. So I hate to say it that way, because objective means to be kind of on in both, giving it from both sides. Okay. So anyway, um, and be understanding. And if you are giving some wisdom because you're concerned about how someone is acting, be sure to communicate that as well. Like, I think you should take a break because you've been really attracting some toxic people and they are doing some damage in your life. So that's understandable where you might just be concerned. Um, that is kind of what came through and I was prompted to talk about today, is for everyone to really just check your mind, body, and soul. So even if you are a couple, um, you might want to look at where you're at right now, and you know and if you're not in the greatest space, then there probably needs to be some healing somewhere in that mind, body, and soul, somewhere in that. You And then make sure when you're offering wisdom to someone else. I mean, I've had people who were fighting with their husband tell me never get married. I mean, come on. Just make sure that you're offering really good universal wisdom, that can truly help that person find their answer. But no, they have their own answer. No answer is right or wrong here. Just what works for you, because what works for you doesn't always work for me. So it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that it's not my answer. So, with that being said, if you want to have any further conversation, I put my information in the description below. Send me an email. We can chat further on this discussion. If you have any more wisdom, of course, offer. I'm always a student. And by the way, these topics are complex. This probably will not be the only video that we do on this, um, but that's the wisdom that I had to offer this morning. So until next time, stay with me here in the Zen Zone. Bye, guys.